how does a fire alarm work? Well, actually, as you can see right here, I have a fire alarm. See, it's a fire alarm. This is the part that beeps. Wrong! This is not the part that beeps, and this is not a fire alarm. This is a police station, but don't feel bad about it. So, and if you were wrong, don't feel bad about it. It's fine. I used to think the same exact thing when I was little. But, in fact, it's all of this. So, and then that's just an extra device I have up there. It has nothing to do with it. It's actually de-wired now. I cut the wire to it because I had to wire up that thing. So I'll be going over how a fire alarm system works. Once you get the idea of it, it's really quite simple. So this is called a pull station. This specific about this specific pull station is a Firelight BG12LX. So anyway, here is the fire alarm control panel. This is a Firelight MS9200 UDLS addressable fire alarm control panel. This is a fairly common control panel. So this is the unit that controls all of the pull stations and all of the notification appliances. That's a notification appliance. That's the part that beeps, and that's the part that flashes. Some of them don't beep, some of them just flash, some of them don't flash, some of them just beep, some of them talk, some of them don't. So, there's a lot of different kinds of them. But anyway, let's start off with the control panel. So, inside here, we have our main control panel board and our controls. So this is the main control panel board and all of our wiring stuff. And so every control panel is different. So this one right here, it has a numeric keypad and a first event button. I've actually never used that before. Huh. That's cool. A clear button, an escape button, and a mode button. I'm not sure what the mode button's used for other to go into the menu. So, we can press escape to go out of that. So you bet is that this trouble light is on, and it says trouble in system. This battery light is also on. This means there's a trouble in the system, and this is the battery's not the only one. So, the trouble that I have here is, I have no battery in the panel. These panels are supposed to have battery backup. I don't have any batteries for it as of right now, and they're expensive, so. And then I have a NAC 3 open. NAC means Notification Appliance Circuit, which is a circuit that device up there is on. I'm just going to refer to it as an alarm from now on, but its real name is a notification appliance, and its model number is a System Sensor Spectral Alert Advance P2R. So, Firelight and System Sensor are both owned by Honeywell, same company, pretty much. Well, not the same company, but like they're owned by the same company. So, anyway, so right here is our little LCD screen. Some panels don't have an LCD screen, like the Firelight MS2 and MS4. And then, so about the NACs here. So each NAC has to be closed with a resistor. So that way, if a wire gets cut, the panel can detect it and send back a signal to the panel to tell it that something has been tampered with. So anyway, to go ahead and demonstrate this here, got a screwdriver here. Take this thing down, and disconnect the wires. Now, don't do this the way that I'm doing it. Like this part is fine, but don't dewire it unless the power's off. But this is for a demonstration, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So, screw one of them and pull the wire out. And there we go. And there we go, NAC 1 open. As we're gonna go ahead and acknowledge that, and let's go to back to that one, NAC 1 open. Now I'm going to wire it back up. And there we go, it's wired back up. So let's check to see if, yep, it's gone. There we go. We're back to our no battery trouble. So let's go ahead and put the alarm back up now. Now, some older fire alarm control panels from like 50s and 60s, they sometimes don't require some of the stuff that I'm going over. Especially ones from the 40s and 30s. Those, I would say, I would call that the dark ages of fire alarms. Sure, the alarms are really cool, but I'm saying, like, the quality of the systems was not very good because we didn't know how to make a good fire alarm system, like fire alarm control panels and system back then. So, anyway, here we are back at the panel. So, nowadays, all panel doors are required to have a wiring diagram and, whatever this is. It's like I'm not sure exactly what that is, actually. A, enclosure, label, and, like, a door color label, and a seismic certification label if it is seismic approved. So these doors do come off. I've actually never taken this one before. There we go. So, first time take it off the door. Just gonna set that down there for right now. So, voila. And, yeah, so, not all door systems work the same. I have another fire alarm panel. Actually, I have, 2 more. One of them's broken. And I lost some of the parts to it. Well, actually missed them. There we go, door's back on now. So we got our front window here and, of course, our lock. So all Firelight panels open with the Firelight 17003 key. So you should put it in. Make sure it goes in all the way, and then turn it to the, for Firelight panels, it's always to the, left, and then open it. And then, so down here is where the batteries would normally go. Is my wiring. That is wiring up to the mains. This little glass piece keeps flipping out for some reason. I have a screwdriver in here. Whatever these things are. I have no clue what these things are. They came with the panel. But, anyway. So I have my other keys in here. So, let's get into how this panel works a bit more. So, anyway, this thing is controlled by a digital CPU, which means it's a digital fire alarm control panel. I do have another fire alarm control panel that is an analog fire alarm control panel. That means it doesn't use any digital parts. This is actually a really rare panel I'm about to show you guys, like extremely rare. I'm lucky to have this. This is my ADC Unimid System 4520 panel. Let me go grab the key for it real quick. It takes a Simplex B key. Here's a Simplex B key. It says B on the front. It's also known as a Cat 30 key. And this one's door works a bit different too, so I'll show you guys that. So, this is a panel from around the 40s. Make sure to subscribe. And, yeah, I've made some replacement labels. So, as you can see, the labels are a bit different from back then. You can hardly ever find replacement parts for this panel. Like I said, this is a really, like, extremely rare panel. There's supposed to be, like, metal pieces right here, but I lost both of them, sadly. There's a replacement label right there. It just says AC power below it. You got lamp test button, trouble silence. So this is the old-fashioned way of stopping the piezo on the panel. So the piezo is the you'd probably call it a beeper. It makes the beeping sound that the panel makes whenever there's like a system trouble. So the way we used to do it here is let's say the trouble common light was on. We'd have to press this button, and that would silence it. And now the problem about this is that if another trouble came in, we wouldn't know about it because it would not beep anymore. This one's a bit different than that, but this one actually would. But I'm also missing a board for this. I have it, but I accidentally ruined it. Yeah, we have alarm silence and system reset, just like the other panel. And we have a wiring area up here for the this is the wiring area for what should we call it, for the AC power, and also partially the alarm. This panel is really odd, like it wires up in a really weird way, so I'm not really using this anymore. I'm just kind of letting it sit here to preserve it, so future generations can see this panel. But yeah, so that's pretty much this panel, and yeah, so like I said, I showed you the door system. This one actually screws in a set of hinges. I personally like this kind of door better because it's more effective. It is harder to get off, however, but it's more effective. So anyway, yeah, there we go. That's the 4520 panel. So I actually got this from a building. I got it for free from the Violet Township administrative offices, aka the Wigwam. My mom used to work at Violet, and they got that out for me, and I found out that they were extremely rare. But the manual itself is worth $5,000. The manual. So I didn't get the manual. They didn't have the manual. Anyway, so back to this panel. The way these panels work is the relays right here. These are called relays. They're electronic components. These probably, so for a digital fire alarm panel, it does it through the CPU normally. Let's just pretend this is an analog panel for a minute, and pretend that these are the main alarm relays. In fact, this one's K1, which means the first relay on the design. But, so anyway, if this were an alarm relay, well, there is an alarm relay on this, but, like, let's say this would engage on the NACS, too. If that were to engage the NACS also, the way it works is that there's the positive and the negative. This is a surface mount device relay, which is really weird. And then, so this relay right here, it would have something known as the latching circuit, and that makes it so it just like loops back into itself, and it would stay open. So anyway, yeah, that's latching circuit. Yeah, so there you go. That's pretty much how these work, except for digital ones. I'm not sure how the digital ones do it. Some of them do it by relays, but most of them do it by the CPU. So, yeah. So that's pretty much it for the panel. Let me grab my keys here. So let's go and take a look at the pull station now. So this is an addressable fire alarm panel, so the pull station is a bit different. So with the smoke detectors, they would also be a bit different. So let's go and open this up here with our firelight key. Same one that's in there. So anyway, you may notice that this one has a little blinky light on the inside. This is because it's a BQ12LX, which means it's an addressable pull station, which means it's compatible with this panel. If it's a conventional, it can't be hooked up to the panel unless you have a converter module. But this one is addressable, so it works on my panel. So here's the inside. Have a little switch right here that engages the alarm. Most pull stations are made differently, but that's how this one's made. Now, quick disclaimer, please do not pull fire alarms in public. It's not funny. It puts people's lives at risk because, if you pull the fire alarm, the fire department has to come, and if there's a real fire somewhere else, or an emergency somewhere else, they're not going to be able to be there. So, anyway, this is a little lever. These are very common pull stations. You see them all over the place. There's a little label. And then this is the address circuit here. So, this one's set to 1. On these rotary switches, and then it's set, and this panel has it programmed in. And programmed into the panel. And this pull station is programmed into the panel, so it knows it's pull station number 1. So, because this thing's set to 1, it can communicate with the panel. So it so the panel knows when it's activated. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for the pull station. So, yeah, I guess we just need to take a look at the alarm now. That's next thing we need to do. So, let's take a look at the alarm. Also, don't tamper with fire alarms. This is my hobby system. It's not hooked up to any dialer or anything. If a fire alarm is going to call the fire department, it has to have something called a dialer on it, which dials the fire department. So anyway, here is the back of the notification appliance, aka alarm. As you can see, this is sensor P2R, and then here's the front. This is a very common alarm. It got discontinued recently, sadly, in favor for the new system sensor L series that was released about 3 years ago. 3, not 30. And then this is the candela switch, which sets the brightness on the strobe. This is a multi-candela device, which means that it has one of these switches and you can adjust how bright the strobe is. And there's also a type of alarm called a fixed candela device, which you cannot change the candela on. And I do have an example of that here. Coming over here. This thing's actually broken right now. I need to get a new part for it. This simplex strobe right here. This is a fixed candela device, which means that you cannot adjust the candela on it. This is also, it's actually a light, not a strobe, but, as you can see, there's no switch to change the brightness. This is a 2093 light plate, by the way. There's no way to change the brightness, so this is a fixed candela device. Lights really don't have candelas, but, yeah. So anyway, yeah, there's multi-candela, the switch. So yeah, so the way these things hook up is, there's a positive wire and a negative wire coming from the system NAC. Now, this only applies to non-simplex fire alarm systems. There's a company called Simplex, and they way overcomplicate things. So, yeah. So anyway, that positive and negative wire goes to the positive and negative on the mounting bracket. And there's another positive port to hook up another positive wire to go to the next device. And you just take a negative out of the same one. And then, if it's the end of line device, you put in a resistor. Only if it's the end of the NAC, though. So anyway, let's go and put this back up now. The way the pull stations work is that they wire up a positive and negative also, and with a positive and negative also, and they communicate via, I believe, binary. I'm not sure exactly if they communicate by, like, sound or data, because you can't send sound through wires, obviously. But I believe it communicates via binary. So anyway, that's back up. So I suppose the last thing to do is do a demonstration. So, disclaimer, this is a home fire alarm system in a controlled environment, which means it's not dialing the fire department. And my parents know that if I set it off, it's not real unless I told them. So, yeah, let's just go and get straight into it. So, don't do this in public or like in any building. Don't do it. So anyway, let's get started. 1 second. I'm setting this thing to low volume. I don't want to get my ears blasted out. I'm not in the mood for it. There we go. Set roll 3 low. Alright, there we go. Check that real quick. So anyway, let's just get straight into it. Push down and pull down. Alarm, monitor modules, panel pull station. So we can acknowledge. So, oops. Our pull station now just activated, the light has gone solid, and our alarm is now going off. So, when the fire department comes in and wants to stop this, they first acknowledge it, and then they press alarm silence, and that silences the alarm. And in some cases it will keep on flashing, but in this case it's not, so, yeah. So anyway, so we're now silenced. So we could reset the system if we wanted to, but it will go off again if we don't reset the pull station. So most people think that you can turn these things off by pushing them back up. That's not true. If you push it up, you'll break it. And it will not turn off the system either. So so we just put in our key, we open it, and then sometimes you have to flip the switch, but this one has a little system right here that flips it for you. So in this case, I just open it and close it. And then we press reset. That's pretty much it. And then this will reset, and then eventually that thing will pull again. So there we go. That's pretty much it. So yeah, and there, I pulled it again. We have a few seconds here that it will not activate for. Depends on the panel, but in this case, it won't. So yeah. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.